Good morning, bro. Might be a little bit slow morning today, so I am determined to get back regular in the mornings, a couple hours before this time on the regular. Though interesting enough, it was full moon last night, tonight, this morning, this time. Um, Energetic weather. That's my specialty. And that energetic weather comes with the shamanic work. Primary work of a shaman is to interact with the spirits, and that is from, people would say, demonic. I would say underworld, a little bit negative polarity, all the way up to the divine, to the positive, to the super positive charged. And as we work with spirits, as we work with individuals, these spirits are attached to individuals, and most people don't even know who they are or what they're up, or really why they're doing things that they do in life. And as we help these spirits, they develop, they mature. This causes a ripple in the entire wave of energy that we feel across this planet. One thing I love about the Japanese consistently, everybody's got their own sorts across the board, although many of them are demons who chose to start fighting the fine fight. They chose to start doing the good deed. So they had a particular style, a particular method about themselves, though they started to fight for good. And that's really where the tides change. That's really where the old gods can get their power back, because they were hurt, they were abused, they were pushed in the mud, and then kept down through various structures across the board. A lot of people see these old gods and they'll put them into one body, one form, and you could put Jesus in the category of an old god. He was more like a child of the old gods, but nonetheless, he was connected within himself. He saw parts of the world that his community had not been privileged or had the opportunity to see, visit, or experience. That's one thing I love about culture. I didn't care much for school back when I was young, but one thing I remember, interesting enough, I don't remember too many teachers' names, but his name was Mr. Peters. And he had these Peter bucks. And you got answered correctly in class or whatever, gave you a Peter buck. And you save them up and trade them in and get candy or whatever. It's cool stuff. But one thing Mr. Peters taught me was culture. Culture is everything. Without culture, really don't have too much. But what exactly is culture? The way a group of people interact, the way they help each other, the way they protect each other, the way they support each other in times of need, and all other sorts of times. The culture that I've been finding emerge in our world has been something that we've had for thousands of years that was lost in many records. And just to let you know, for those that are on TikTok, I know the visual is not all that appeasing. The quality is not all that great. So if you would like to join us where the quality is quite sound, jump over to YouTube and youtube.com/Setchra, Setchra, and that'll give you the link where we're live on YouTube. Though with this full moon, a lot of people on the road may seem they're speeding off, going a whole, uh, being very inconsiderate. The time is, the time is. It's not the time is nigh, like the time is. And so people are going to be a little bit hectic out there. Though it's a bit of a blessing. Hail to thee, great God, the Lord of right and truth. I have come unto thee, O my Lord, and I have drawn nigh that I may look upon thy beauties. I know thee, and I know the names of the 42 gods who dwell with thee in this hall of double right and truth, and that they may set the sinners in the gives who live and who feed upon their blood on the day when the natures of men are accounted before the Ur Neferu in very truth. Recti morti ben mart is thy name. Verily, I have come unto thee, we have come unto thee, and we bring before thee right and truth. For thy sake, whom we have rejected wickedness, we have done no hurt unto man, nor have we wrought harm unto beasts. We have committed no crime. In the place of right and truth, we have had no knowledge of evil, nor have we acted wickedly. Each day have we labored more than was required of us. Our name hath not come forth to the vote of the prince. I have not despised God. I have not caused misery, nor have I worked affliction. I have not done that which God doth abominate. I have caused no wrong to be done by the servant, by thy master. I have caused none to feel pain. I have made no man to weep. I have not committed murder, nor have I ever bidden any man to slay on my behalf. I have not wronged the people. I have not filched that which hath been offered in the temples, nor have I purloined the cakes of the gods. I have not carried away the offerings made unto the blessed dead. I have not committed fornication, nor have I defiled my body. I have not added unto, nor have I minished the offerings which are due. I have not stolen from the orchards, nor have I trampled down the fields. I have not added to the weight of the balance, nor have I made light the weight in the scales. I have not snatched the milk from the mouth of the babe. I have not driven the cattle from their pastures. I have not snared the waterfowl of the gods. I have not caught fishes with bait of their own bodies. I have not turned back water at its springtide. I have not broken the channel of running water. I have not quenched the flame in its fullness. I have not disregarded the seasons for the offerings which are appointed. I have not turned away the cattle set apart for sacrifice. I have not thwarted the processions of the God. I am pure. I am pure. I am pure. I am pure. I am pure with the purity of the great new bird which is in smitten and in. For look, I am the nostrils of the Lord of the winds, who maketh all men to live on the day when the eye of the sun becometh full and new, in the second month of the season of coming forth until the end thereof. In the presence of the Lord of this earth, I behold the eye of the sun wax full and new. May no evil happen unto me in this land, in the whole of double right and truth, because I know, even I, the names of the gods who live therein and who are the followers of the great God. To those on TikTok, just to let you know we are on youtube.com/Setchra, SETCHRA, better video quality and all that good stuff. One thing I've been contemplating a lot and looking at is the baboon. It's literally right in front of me as I have the justice scales with Anubis or Amptu. And he would, would let out this sound in the morning. I don't want to call it a howl or a screech, but it would let out this sound in the morning with the sun. And it was a huge thing. Waking up with the sun, really bringing to life the energy, the presence, the consciousness, the awareness. The lotus flowers are very, very poignant on this topic because the lotus flowers, they open up with the sun, and then their bloom closes back up when the sun goes away. And those lotus flowers, they relate to our chakra centers, our energy centers in our body. And so if we properly wake these energy centers up, well, then we're actually good to go for the day. If we don't wake these energy centers up, the day's a little bit shot. Things don't go correctly, a lot more bumps in the road. We pave the roads so that we can drive our vehicles, so that we can get from one place to the other without having bumps and destroying whatever's we're driving within. And the same goes for our day, is how we get our day started, where the mind goes. And I've the transformation, the development, the past month that I've been spending has really I've been I've been reading over the words of power every single day for practically about 3 years now, and it's developed to where it is. And I used that like like a baby blanket. I was holding on to that. And it was like if I didn't do that, then my connection with the divine wasn't established. I hadn't waken up my energy centers. I hadn't said the correct words or brought to life that energy for the day. And words are power, and they do change things. In the very beginning, I'm going way, way back. Very beginning of my journey, I heard of a theory in which the safer war theory, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it said by speaking another language, one could rewire their brain. A theory, a hypothesis. And I was like, yo, every brain in the whole world is tipped off. Like, something's off with it. I don't care. Give whatever argument you want. I ain't taking on any one person, but everybody's off. So I said, I want to rewire my brain. I, I can't afford to pay anybody. I don't know how to do it, but this sounds interesting. And I connected with love. God is love. Live one vibrational energy. Your joy, happiness, what makes you, you, me, me. We're different. In some areas, we're the same. Anyways. And so I found these words of power along with ceremonial instruction. But in the beginning, I didn't want to follow the ceremonial instruction. I didn't want to light no candle. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get no fruit. I didn't want to get no incense. I didn't care about none of that. None of that. Well, maybe incense. I like that stuff. Always did, I should say. And then I started getting into Hebrew because the Bible, going back, getting into the origins of the Bible, and I was like, boom. I started studying Hebrew. I even, let's see, maybe it's in this book. I got some written down. Anyways, I'm not going to turn on looking for it. Definitely got some Egyptian in there. But I got into Hebrew, and then I got into ancient Egyptian and the hieroglyphs. I had even written my own language. And, oh yeah, there's some. Look, see? Look, you see my work here? Some, when I was getting into hieroglyphs. So, like, there's books, you can find them online for free, and they'll teach you how to read and write hieroglyphs. It's amazing. And I had already written a book with the language and the way hieroglyphs are developed and explained and arranged or whatnot is got the same format that my own books, my own language has. And I found that intriguing. Anyways, language, rewiring the brain. So as I got deeper and deeper into these areas and fields, I read the words, but I really left all the ceremonial processes out of the equation. My heart meant everything. Everything I read from the Bible, everything King Jesus, and everything else I had read. If you follow the heart and you're honest and true and pure, you don't need to worry about all the other junk. All the other steps, all the extra stuff is because someone's doing something wrong. They're trying to get a blessing out of something that they shouldn't be messing with because they don't deserve it. So they got to use this and that and this and that because they have to cancel out, they have to block being attacked by divine justice, the divine law and order. They got to do these things to stop divine law and order from whooping their tail. But a pure heart walks through the door, walks right down the middle of the golden brick road. And yes, golden brick road. It's a story we had read. And there's this golden brick road, and the queen, the lady in waiting, she said, anybody walking straight down this road, you let them right on in. But anybody that walks to the side of this golden brick road, you get them out of here. So some false suitors came up and they thought the gold was so beautiful, the road was so gorgeous that they didn't want to put a scuff mark on it. So they went to the right and to the left. They were sent away, but the true vagabond, the true hero to the story, the true king who looked like scum and just any old bum, he walked right up the middle of that golden brick road and right through the door. He was let right on in. So yes, the yellow golden brick road. But so I continued speaking to them, and I noticed changes. I noticed things would work in the world, things would work in my surrounding environment to benefit my goal in life. And my goal is a roof over my head and a belly of full food. And I don't mind doing some work from time to time, but I ain't no man's or woman's um, uh, dog. That ain't me. I'll be a stallion, but I ain't no dog. You can get my drift. And so I kept doing this. And then one day I went to a Hindu temple and I saw them performing and doing these ceremonies in which was everything I read about on the ancient Egyptian, on the Hebrew, on the chat, everything. I saw that what they were doing was on point. And so I went and I paid attention and I learned as much as I could. And there's a lot of personal research and whatnot, and time spent there. And I took everything I had learned. I took what I had learned there. I put it all together, and that's when the approximate 3 year period came about in which I went full on ceremony, words of power. I don't need a special building. I don't need a group of people. I just need my voice and my heart and some magical words, and boom, boom. We're going to make some magic happen one way or another. And I was stuck on that like a baby blanket. Everything, like even tarot cards, they are training wheels. When you really develop it, you really know the ins and outs. You can literally drop the cards and just start talking and interacting and being a live or a living live oracle. Anyway, and bringing all of that ceremony and verbiage and words into the present and sharing it completely and openly. For the time that I did, that was that was both risky, and that's how much I was hurting and in need. I didn't care if the book said not to or to. I said, there's someone that can help me. I'm going to call them. And at this point, it really feels like I did more than just call them. I started helping them, and they helped me realize, like, the prayer. It's like some people come on and they're like, bless me. And I'm like, at this moment, I'm like, this is our blessing. This is the praying together. This is the culture. This is the future. This is like a beginning, a seed to the future. And many people are doing it, and it's beautiful. Everybody in their own right, different spiritual masters, people with different expertise in different fields. I mean, shoot, there's videos on here, and they're doing energy generation with magnetics. Like, are you kidding me? This is awesome. Our future is, the doors are open. The doors are truly open, and people are creating in various ways, from emotional, from spiritual to mom and dad stuff. Like, the whole world is becoming healers, and those who are not healers are supporting the healers and doing their role. The whole thing goes together, and we're all just another part in everything that makes it all go around. Anyways, and so I do got some blessings, but the majority of the stuff these days, though, I like to read so that people can understand what I'm reading. However, Dante's Inferno is not exactly an easy understanding. Or in Canto 9, Dante's Inferno has been very intriguing to read. I've never technically read the book through and through. I've seen the movie, seen the story, gleaned through the book, but actually reading it's pretty great. If you are on TikTok, we are live on YouTube, youtube.com/Cetra. Oh, that's the one. Okay, so a lot of people were using the term the evil eye. So I actually did some research because I'm like, it's a blessed eye. It's a good thing. But where I found, there we go. Cool. Okay, I want to read those two. They're pretty interesting. There was the information that I looked up was in one portion of the world. The evil eye would be they had a saying, and oh, there it is, yeah. And it is Gum Bernort en Celebestu Char Garabit Mor Shul Ort. Sien Tisul Arshi, Sien Cred He Asim Smuren Netchines, Sien Tenga Lebras. And it says, God bless you. My eye shall not punish you. 'Tis the eye that sees. 'Tis the heart that thinks. 'Tis the tongue that speaks. And it's pretty interesting because what they understood, what's real, is when like we see somebody, we might become envious or jealous, or some attribute within might, even though consciously and choosingly we're like, oh, that's great, that's awesome. But there can be that aspect within us that actually attaches and is that evil eye. It's it's the heart's longing of a negative quality. And so literally they had this saying in which they would say when they saw somebody so that they were protecting them from themselves. just that's I thought that was pretty interesting. So I wound up writing a good bit in the original language. But there's another one, and I did write it in English and in its origin language. So I'm gonna read the origin language, and then I'm gonna read the what it really was. En miljoner search Närmgerna träffaren door der snarte mars naar smar trebas orin och hårsäter Tre as darin dorateater, serch tornat har sid darm dorodorter, nincholiert meser fortjore I lurig las ring, sen linjor, ni nastar molshru orchel, dorthi as nimthir bos cobra cern, ormunior margernia, norbar narberba, Amsterdam dorit nastar, Vindrunir, Verba, Rohothar, Moricht, Roseathor, Morecht, Morthor, Monor, Nibelem, Molech, Nymph, Thebas, Forfetched, Rofethor, Mothecht, Nimrigbar, Nathir, Dichron, Nador, Dorgras, Nadoler, Dichon, Nimin, Melebthor, Telol, Nadkore, Bad Nakore, Björden, Domsi, Orchur, Namsere, Origina, Niole, Ormir, Senat, Serchta, Serach, Konaktar, Merna, Serde, Forbrunner, Bres, Ner, Beater, Moserch, Tjerndel, Turn die Torgel, Atil, Sjurte, Leer, Lorgmor, Sen, Setstra, Meiernert, Robot, Sjertarch, Sert, Bielernach, Sert, Derib, Oreer, Kotagor, Korum, Molesa, Robe, Rat, Inspirutor, Norib, Formsa, Dornielner, Est, Salus, Tor, Crester, Est, Salus, Ter. Domine est salus tor Christi est salus ter. Domine est salus tor Christi est salus ter subor populum torum Domine benedictur tua. And so what I just read, it says, I invoke the daughters of the sea who fashion the threads of the sons of long life. May the deaths be taken from me. May the 3 periods of age be granted to me. May 7 waves of good fortune be dealt to me. Phantoms shall not harm me on my journey. In flashing corslet without hindrance, my fame shall not perish. Let old age come to me. Death shall not come to me till I am old. I invoke the silver champion who has not died, who will not die of the quality of white bronze, or who will not die. May a time be granted to me of the quality of white bronze. May my double be slain. May my right be maintained. May my strength be increased. My grave shall not be ready. Death shall not come to me on an expedition. May my journey be carried out. May my journey be carried out. The headless otter shall not seize me, nor the hard gray worm, nor the headless black chaffer. Neither thief shall harm me, nor a band of women, nor a band of armed men. Let increase of time come to me from the King of the universe. I invoke Shamanic of the 7 periods of time whom fairy women have reared on the breasts of plenty. May my 7 candles not be extinguished. I am an indestructible stronghold. I am an unshaken rock. I am a precious stone. I am the luck of the weak. May I live 100 times 100 years, each 100 of them apart. I summon their bones to me. May the grace of all the Holy Spirit be upon you. I do love languages. That's an actual language. I want to say what the language is, and I was wise enough to write the translation, but I did not jot down the technical language. Um, definitely goes back to like, I don't want to say the wrong place. I will say on that comment, I do like that comment. He's in the 12th dimension. He's like in the 12th dimension. Sarah next 7. Uh, that's where you want to get. You want to get to a dimensional plane in your own mind, in your own heart, that nobody else can touch, and stay there. We interact. It goes back to that one scripture. The dude, I like to call him the dude, and he was like, "Be in the world, but don't be part of the world." We live in life. We live in the 3D. We interact with people. We go to the store. Okay, we're in the world. We're not part of it. We're not part of it. We're not starting some group and it's like, hey, come here. This is a way of life. This is what's in our DNA. It is in our very being. And we're finding each other and we're seeing that we're not alone. We do live in a world where the wheels of fortune are being changed. They are being moved, actually. They had been stiff. That wheel of fortune had been stiff in the hands of, I'm just going to say, greedy man. Those wheels were rusted. That wheel of fortune wasn't moving, not like it should. I don't care what your position is or who you are. We all are under the rule of, call it divine law and authority, call it God, call it whatever you want on that plane. We all under some type of governance. And people try to block those things. And those energies are very much powerful. They're very much present in our world. And we stay resonating at a high vibration, at a high attunement, because we're not lowering down to play those games, those bickering games, or that energy tug of war. And we're not doing that anymore. That really allows the Queen of Swords to really do some things in her house that has not been done for a good long while. It's interesting when I think about a throne chair, like I'm looking at the Queen of Swords here, and I see the throne chair that she's sitting on, and my mind quickly associates a throne chair to the Egyptian throne chairs I'm used to taking a look at. And through that understanding, the throne chair really, it's all your talismans, it's all these stones, and they can be vibrated at a tunage like a sound bowl or a gong or some type of instrument of the sort. And the energy of the person sitting upon that chair allows them to connect to a multitude of dimensions. And the queen and kings of old were not there to dominate or control their people. It's not the way it worked in the ancient ways. They were there because people could walk up to them, tell them, hey, this is my sickness, this is my problem, this is what's going on. And they could literally tap into the universe, tap into everything that they were connected to. Their throne chair was amplifying their signal, essentially, not creating it, but amplifying their signal, sending it out so they could actually tap into the heavens, to the spirit realm, to that great consciousness that we all want to connect to. And they could literally shoot out the answer to their problem. And to really allow the Divine Mother, a lot of people, they say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Well, I kind of use a lot of different verbiage, and now I say the Holy Mother Ghost, because it is the Holy Mother, Father, Mother, Child. I don't know about you, but that's the way I seen it works. So really to allow the Queen of this world, through each person, through each individual, through each healer, through each one of us participating in a new culture and introducing this culture of our spiritual heritage, of our ancestors, and introducing this culture to the world. This is an introduction of a sea of ambassadors. I'm not just one. We are many. We're everywhere. A queen or a king, and even for the Christian, Jesus, the dude, he said, I want you, you're my brother. I want you to be a king with me. In Revelation, he said, I want you to be a king with me. Come feast at my table, my brother. And a king and a queen, they're not thinking about what other people are going to say about what they wear. They are who they are. It takes confidence. People say, oh, you're brave. I think bravery can be very confused with confidence. See, confidence in the divine connection, confidence in your ancestors, confidence in God, confidence in the mother, confidence in however you see your divine connection. If you are truly confident that who you're praying to, that who you're connected to, however you see it, you don't have to see it the way I see it, but in your connection of your faith, if you are truly confident in them, then it is their voice, it is their thoughts, it is their instruction, active, not from a book, not from cards, but in your heart. And if you're truly confident in them that they will protect you, then you can be you and actually not worry about the opinions of a person. Because as long as one is worried about the opinions of a person, they will never honor the divine. You can't honor the divine and try to please man. It don't work. It's incompatible. I'm the proof of it. Walk in as much as I could for you. Been walking this journey for over 12 years ultimately now. And so what I do find being compatible is walking and following the divine and their opinion, their verbiage, their guidance to me was be yourself over and over through the mouths of strangers in different communities from one city and one state to the next another. People kept telling me, just be yourself. And I'm like, I am being myself. I will. But it was good encouragement because they kept encouraging me. That was God talking through them. That was the Divine Mother talking through them. Maybe that guy connected more with the father. Maybe that lady connected more with the mother, whatever the case or circumstance. But I know that I am confident. I am confident that my God will protect me, that my God will provide for me. Now, that doesn't give me a free right to go be a fool. No, I honor my God. He's be kind, be loving, do not return injury for injury. Don't do that. Vengeance to the Lord, vengeance to God, vengeance to whatever spirit or shoot. Maybe there's somebody out there that wants it more than it doesn't. That's not my role. I don't do that. That's not what. That's not who I honor. That's not what they tell me to do. That's not my gig. Not like that. And so people in the world, people who follow and honor their God, their divine, their very whatever they follow, they see me and they're like, they know, they know. They don't even need to come say anything. I look across the street, I see them smiling. Yesterday, I went to the store. I waited in the car for most. I took the cart back, and there was this lady, and like she had white hair and whatnot, and she's a sweet, sweet, sweet old lady. And she didn't say anything, and I was just taking the cart back, and I'm dressed how I'm dressed, and I could just see her out the corner of my eye. She just looked at me and she just had the biggest grin. There's two guys and they were looking at me. And the guys, I could tell, guys have all sorts of loopy, gay, whatever's going through their head. I don't know. And, but the sweet old lady, she's just the sweetest, biggest grin on her face when she saw me, just the way her head turned. Just that's that's the message to bring to people. Happiness in their heart. Pull them out of their world for a moment. One thing I've learned personally, my own interactions, people for the most part are very kind. And if they don't like you, they generally just stay away. It's when somebody goes up and they like poke, problems happen and real problems happen from that. But somebody just me walking down the road living my life, people don't come up to me with problems and conflict. They stare, they observe, they laugh, they chuckle, they point. Some might come up and be like, hey, what's up? Have a good chat. And that's the goal. A comedian will walk onto the stage. People have paid money. And for 45 minutes or however much time they have with the audience, they are pulling them out of their day to day life. They got to go to the 12th dimension. They got to go to La La Land and forget about the whole world and the way the crap works. And that was it. That's why they paid the money. That's why the comedian got up there to perform. That's the goal right there. And there's some point in my life many years back, and I said, why do I need to stand on a stage and why do I need to charge money? Let me just do it. Let me just walk out into the world and do it. Let me just live my life and have fun. Like, the first piece of clothing I made out of leather and walked out the door with something I sewed together by my own hands. No machine. Oh, oh, that was cool. And then after that, it was like, dude, I got a couple of shirts and a vest. I got a few items uh, that have been made and crafted by others, but for the most part, I am not no pant and shirts, dude. I don't even care for shorts. Like, I need something a little bit more, something that nobody else has done. But it gives freedom to the mind to be able to live outside of people's controlling factors, their controlling circumstances. Men dress like this, women dress like that, kids dress like that. You got to be like this. You got to be. Respect is huge. You can dress however you want to, but you can respect anybody nonetheless of how they are dressed. You can still be kind. And I mean, from myself, from my own perspective, I dress the way I dress. It doesn't take away my kindness. It doesn't turn me into anything else. I am still who I am. But it really does allow the common person, wherever I go or happen to be for that moment, to pull them out of whatever they've been stuck in. Because generally, as we all know, the regular grime of this world doesn't leave you feeling too good. You want to shake that off, get something different going. Though we truly do turn that wheel of fortune by assisting others. And that assistance doesn't have to be direct, it doesn't have to be um, the normal going out of your way. It can be just you being you. And I'm going to bring it back again to that confidence and bravery. Confidence in your spirit team, confidence in your God spirit, confidence in your Savior. True faith is going to allow you to be you. And you make the world a great place. So I got another portion I'm going to read here. It is in another language. And then I'm going to read it all. I'm going to read, well, I read that first portion already here. Boom, skip that. So I'm going to read it in its origin language, and then I'm going to read it in its other language here. And the reason I did this for myself, and we get a lot of eyes on us, and that's good. It's okay. Healers helping people in the spirit realm. They need some extra eyes on them to help them along their way. Spirit team and all that kind of stuff. Though at a certain point we get down the road and we don't need so many eyes on us. Kind of know what we're doing. It's like don't need the babysitter anymore. I grew up enough. And so it clears people's eyes off of you. It clears those individuals who are jealous. And so essentially, it really blocks their energy of jealousy or envy from getting to you. And that's the evil eye. The evil eye is of those individuals who would block your blessings. Smeser entriur gortier da so ortsa arn iron an athor ar merch as arn spiorer neorne an til terner formar ternier tiorne formar cisur tul laborerte belthu smör nerkjerd kreditul antriur ga duldion an tater amarch san spior nerum atheosarn gunro lernta amendra gun berna certa der mosiu Sembiancerde mulciur narcir, bianarcerde meser munabiorde, sabiancerde munabiorde me, dianarmsa durza eulas ersiur, al urch ule padru neorme art amarnech is star erbiur, neur coners neur connercher, sis neori ben cern siater sur cerna gele cerciarte cerna merna massasiol fieri iera sarta morbierge massasiol mernar berder esar biorder a serch Volkanter voor Argus fortsatt därför neres diorne kuldersa att Keorach fern antrior Keorach med Argus när benen neror med Arnsur ankorolger Argus anvil antrior Achior meser domor chorsarne antater an mart Argus anspiorar neorme aber Bernard nur Achiorer der Lachnarch Ormeser Argus Urgarch Diorne Bernars Leorme Bern Argus Mol Bjorfjord Rur Bert Erle Erge Fjord Narchior de Argus Fjord Nar Eser Narcher Bern Ormeser Argus Urgarch Diurne Bailners Leorum Bern. What I just read. I am the three to turn this off you. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and the Holy Mother Ghost, will fire turn envy, will turn envy. Eye will see you, tongue will speak of you, heart will think of you. The three are protecting you, the Father, Son, and Holy Mother Ghost. His name be done. Let God bless my eye, and my eye will be blessed, and my eye will bless all I see. I will bless my neighbor, and my neighbor will bless me. Let me perform for you a charm for the evil eye. From the breast of the holy Saint Patrick, against swelling of neck and stoppage of bowels of the tail, against 9 corner and 9 concher and 9 slender fairies, against an old bachelor's eye and the old wife's eye. If a man's eye, may it flame like resin. If a woman's eye, may she want her breast a cold plunge and coldness to her blood, and to her stock, and to her men, and to her cattle, and her sheep. Three who saw me and did not bless me, the eye, the heart, and the mouth, the three whom I placed to protect me, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Mother Ghost, may the effects of the evil eye fall on his horned cattle, on his dun sheep, and if he has nothing else, may he feel its effects under his own heart and under his own ribs, from me and from each person who belongs to me. All right, I'll read you a little one I wrote. Still want to read the Inferno here. Still want to get back to that. I'll read a little something I wrote. Personalized individuality, developed unified victory. Mother, soldier, never another. Let's get this over. Dressed like the rest, not one blessed. Humanity's crown crest. Honor, shame. We do not live for fame. This is no game. Monopoly so lame. Stand strong, no bloodshed. Fiercely prolonged, suddenly ended sound. Ding dong, cling home, dom dom dom, home song. Put a beat on it. um, actually, I like Sarah Nick 7. Huh? Funny, I didn't see your comment. Yeah, I beat your comment. But I like that. Can I do that, but about cleanliness? Um, I like that. I got my pen. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna take a note of that. Yes, I could do that. Somebody asked, could I put a tune to that? Um, I'm hoping to get some. Can no directly right away. No, I have not merged my poetic ability with or my or whatever you want to call that with my music ability quite yet. Um, I definitely need either a new laptop or some more or unbroken instruments to be able to make that happen. I can play a didgeridoo. I used to have one, but I have not got to the ability because there's an ability to where you trap one traps the air in their mouth and they push that air out to continue the sound on the didgeridoo, and at the exact same moment simultaneously they wind up inhaling air oxygen to continue the sound, and so the sound is uninterrupted. That ability I do not have. So can I play it? I can play it, but I can't hold it like a pro on that one. In order for life to flow and express itself, that which belongs to the world of death must be released. There is nothing to be gained and everything to be lost by trying to hold on to that which no longer serves us, which is better left to die, though it takes great spiritual courage and trust to allow this to happen. Osiris, Osor, Lord of the Dead, guides you now to release that which no longer needs to be a part of your life so that you may be free. You need to see something through and let it go so that you are free from it. You may or may not be fully aware of that, of what this is, but your energy field is somehow haunted by the past or drained by attachments that are no longer necessary for your growth. This could be anything from a past relationship to dreams or visions that may have encouraged you in the past, though are not relevant for where you are going now. It might also be the spirit of a lost child or loved one, someone that has passed on or left your life, or the ghost of expectations unmet from past hopes and dreams. There is so much beauty and fullness waiting for you right now, beloved initiate. There is no need to further hold on to the past. Do not be scared. You are supported so utterly and completely in this deep healing release now, and all involved will benefit from the healing change. It is not abandoning what you have loved to give it full and proper burial. It is, in fact, honoring and allowing what you are releasing to return to the pure love and light of the source. It is spiritual freedom for you and what you have released, which is the destiny of which all of life will eventually return. It takes great trust, but if you allow Osiris, Osar, to help you, or whichever god or whoever it is that you follow to help you, you will realize that in letting go, rebirth and growth is really possible. You may experience grief, anger, fear, freedom, and a sense of relief, or a combination of these feelings as you move to let go and allow proper burial to take place. Do not be afraid of any of these feelings, for they will pass naturally when allowed to just flow. These feelings will actually fertilize new life and allow you to become more of who you are in truth. Trust that Osiris, Osar, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, whoever it is that you follow, trust that they will love and protect you, that which is released into their care through the world of death. Death too becomes new life, and there's nothing to fear, everything to gain. Now, if you would like to enjoy this little guided meditation, you can take a few deep breaths, slow breaths, and close your eyes if you would like to. Go into the awareness of your heart, focusing on your breathing and going deeper within your heart with each breath, and become aware of the vast open space in all directions around you. I call upon the Lord who loves me unconditionally to cast into your unconditionally loving care that which no longer naturally belongs in the land of the living. Stay in your heart and become aware of a beautiful individual, a beautiful man with a rich green light all around him, promising new life and growth. He holds a crook and a flail in each arm and wears an ornate crown. His eyes are kind. I now call forth that which is attached to my energy field and that does not serve me in unconditional love. I now choose of my own free will to cast into the loving care of the Lord all attachments, histories, beliefs, and beings of any influence that are not aligned with unconditional love. I release you now through all time and space with love and respect. Go in peace. You may not return to me ever. Our contracts are now dissolved, and I set you free. I set myself free. So be it. We are free. Let yourself be at peace. If you feel emotion or surprise as different impressions register in the body or mind, just let them flow without attachment. You may feel fear, anger, sadness, or grief arising and leaving your body. You may temporarily feel confusion, nausea, waves of regret, or pain as energies leave. Do not concern yourself. Stay with this process and know that you are supported. As your eyes are closed and you perceive your Lord, receive the light of him into your own heart with loving compassion from your own Savior, from your own higher divine connection. This heart is vast and can receive so much old energy and pain from you, simply taking it into their heart and letting it burn in the sacred fire of his heart chakra. Stay with this process. As the completion comes to satisfaction, open your eyes, and it is done. Assad, Master of Love and Peace, bring our soul the light of relief through unconditional love and a heart that is true. I release that which should be returned to you. I surrender all not of unconditional love to your peaceful heart, pure as the dove. I am free that which no longer lives. New life and healing you now give. To that which is due burial proper and right, we are all free now to grow with the light. I am free to move on now, thanks to you, with unconditional love and compassion too. That seemed all right, proper. There's a lot that we like to hold on to. One thing I've learned repetitively throughout my shamanic journey, the Divine Father and the Divine Mother have guided me repetitively to accumulate, receive, develop, and then allow those things to be removed, lost, left behind. And this happens over and over and over and over and over and over. And there are some things in the world, there are some things that we wind up becoming connected to, and we want to stay connected to those things, to those qualities, to those aspects. And in all reality, they can be buried in the past. And it doesn't mean that we forget. I'm gonna get real. I'm gonna get real, real. My two daughters, they passed away a few years ago, and that's how do you How does one live with the death of their children? How do you live with that? How do you go on day to day and not hold on to that every single moment of life? Well, that is my inspiration. I was supposed to be a dad, so I don't have kids to be a dad, but I got some people out there in the world who care. They leave positive comments, send me good messages, say things helped them out, whatever the case. I never gave up that dream. I never gave up that responsibility. And so I didn't have two personal individuals who were my children. So I didn't lose that aspect of teaching. I didn't lose that aspect of developing my own self, because if a teacher's going to be effective at teaching, well, they need to keep growing. A teacher who's not learning anything is not a good teacher, because they've checked out of modern whatever's going on. You got one keeps growing, and so they have fresh material to keep teaching. Student is a student one day and teaching in the class what they learn the next day. I mean, it's just what flows. We're all students in our spiritual journeys. That's for certain. But I never gave up. I never. There were days and years, and it destroyed everything in my life, that because they weren't around, couldn't be around. But I processed, wrote a book, published it, started all this stuff. I mean, it started before they passed away. There were problems years ago, but you can see a future. You can either embrace it and make the decisions today in the moment, not to make up for lost time, but to seize that moment and really appreciate the time you have. I was staying at this one lady's place, and she is her husband and their two kids, and the daughter was teenage range, and she's just always yelling at the mom, and they always having problems. And I told her, I said you should value your mom. She's around. You can actually have time with her. My mom's dead. I can't. It's I can't do that. Uh, I don't. I'm not going to put a time uh on the story, but sometime after I'm not living there no more, not living with them. They moved. They moved. I was in another state, and her mom ended up passing away in her sleep. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And so, seizing the opportunity of today to do the most good, uh, regardless of what has happened in the past, to allow certain things to be buried, because, well, they're not going to walk the way that I see in my mind. They're not going to come hug me the way I see in my mind. I have to accept that. I can't work any plan or scheme or anything. That's not real for that to be in my life. I have to accept my reality. And well, I have. And I let those things be buried. It, of course, still moves my heart. Don't get me wrong. Though I know every day what I'm waking up to do, I know what I'm learning, I know what I'm processing. I said it yesterday, I'll say it many times, I'm sure, in the future, but I took that month off of being online and interacting. I was I was going by the guidance of my heart, by the Divine Father and the Divine Mother. And they said, stay away from that right now. We're going to spend some time with you. And that involves you not being involved in all of that. And people naturally would say, yo, where are you? What are you doing? Where you been? You're supposed to be right here every day. Following the divine, following your God, following your faith. It requires your confidence, because your confidence will have you follow what you know is true in your heart. And what's true in your heart is likely to go against what everybody's opinion is going to be. There's only one opinion I ultimately value. It's the opinion of my divine parents. Label it, call it whatever you want, but my divine mother and papa, I see them as one, and their opinion matters. So I'll keep trucking if I got life and breath in me. That's one thing I've been living by for years is never give up, never surrender. Shoot. Might have some days off, might need to recover for a bit, but didn't mean I folded. So on Dante's Inferno, we are on Canto 9. So I'm going to give you a moment if you'd like. I'm going to give it a few moments before I start reading, but perhaps you want to run off to the restroom, or maybe you want to go grab a snack or do something. But I'm going to get to reading this a bit, Dante's Inferno. I'm going to read and just keep reading that for a bit. So I'm going to give, if anybody wants to do anything like that, if you are over on TikTok, we are live on YouTube. Much better video than what quality is here. It would be youtube.com/Setchra, Setchra. And that'll take you directly to our live. Thank you, Sandman. I appreciate that. You know what's interesting is there was a comment about kryptonite on there in the comments there, and kryptonite's an actual rock. I was looking up some stuff, and it's an actual stone. It's like comes from meteors and stuff. Love you, bro. Curry, Sarah Nix, Curry. Gotcha. Yes, definitely. Yellow curry ninja. All right, ninja, bro. I'm gonna tell you what I do before I get to reading here. I like the word ninja. I like the idea of a ninja. Spiritual ninja. Okay, spiritual ninja. Now we're gonna throw in Bruce Lee with that. Spiritual Bruce Lee ninja. That's 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 the game right there. Now the dress, the clothing, the attire. Number one, everybody who looks at it and makes a foolish comment, well, everybody who sees me, immediately the brain is not in your normal sense. Right away, the brain registers a whole bunch of things going on. This dude nuts? Is he on drugs? Is this going on? Is that going on? Is dot 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 dot. It will be wondering. Now that puts the ball in my court immediately because I have an objective in life. I know what I want to do. I want to heal people. I want to be a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister. I'll be a stranger and come in and do the good deed for 2 seconds and out of your life forever. That's cool with me. That's okay. That's my objective. So when I come into somebody's life and they are lost in thought because they have no answers to explain this, none. They're all guesses. They have no proof. They haven't seen me throughout my life. They know nothing. They're going to create a whole book, a whole story in 60 seconds. Well, that puts the ball in my court because they are still deliriously lost in thought. And I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing. They're lost in envy. They're lost in confusion. They're lost in jealousy. They're lost in so many different things. I'm not lost. I know where I'm going. Be a ninja. It's kind of funny with that we don't have to be so hidden. So, one thing I'd like to suggest, I saw a comment said, I'm always lost in thought. You can look online for books, such as putting into the web browser free PDF file. And the old books, like back to the 1400s and before, they got some good information all over the world. What I'm getting at is find some books wherever your source of information is. And at the beginning of the day, pick a chapter, a book, just open the book and read the paragraph where your eyes go. And let that be what your brain thinks about that day. So you're not lost in thought, but you are pondering over something particular. So anywhere you go throughout the entire day, people are not distracting you, things are not distracting you. Your body may be going different places, seeing different things, but your mind is staying on one subject matter throughout the entire day. And no matter what you think about or populate through that, at least it was on one subject, one line of thought, one idea. The next day, pick another subject. Anything else, just at random, whatever. Nothing has to be lined up, pre planned. Just let each day kind of flow like that. And that's how you can start having something to focus on throughout the day. And then you're not lost. And Frank, nice, nice. Lewis Edgy said that I'm reading Anne Frank right now. World to an End. all books. I really, I really encourage reading. Reading is important. Um, Reading is a beautiful thing, and learning, learning is. uh, they could take away everything from you, but they can't take away what you learned. Happy birthday, Amanda. Very awesome. All right. That hue which cowardice brought out on me, beholding my conductor backward turn, sooner repressed within him his new color. He stopped, attentive, like a man who listens, because the eye could not conduct him far, through the black air and through the heavy fog. Still, it behoveth us to win the fight, began he, else such offered us herself. Oh, how I long that some one here arrive! Well, I perceived as soon as the beginning he covered up with what came afterward, that they were words quite different from the first. But none the less his saying gave me fear, because I carried out the broken phrase, perhaps to a worse meaning than he had. Into this bottom of the doleful conch, doth any or ever descend from the first grade, which for its pain has only hope cut off? This question could I, and he answered me. Seldom it comes to pass that one of us maketh the journey upon which I go. True is it, once before I here below was conjured by that pitiless Eresto, who summoned back the shades unto their bodies, naked of me short while the flesh had been. Before within that wall she made me enter, to bring a spirit from the circle of Judas. That is the lowest region and the darkest and farthest from the heaven which circles all. Well know I the way, therefore be reassured. This fin which a prodigious stench exhales, encompass about the city domed, where now we cannot enter without anger. And more he said, but not in mind I have it, because mine eye had altogether drawn me towards the high tower with the red flaming summit, where in a moment saw I swift uprisen the three infernal furies stained with blood, who had the limbs of women and their mane, and with the greenest hydras were begirt. Small serpents and cerastes were their tresses, wherewith their horrid temples were entwined. And he who well the handmaids of the queen of everlasting lamentation knew, said unto me, behold the fierce Iernes. This is Margera on the left hand side. She who is sweeping on the right, Lecto. Tisforne has been between, and then was silent. Each one her breast was rending with her nails. They beat them with their palms and cried so loud that I, for dread, pressed close unto the pole. Medusa, come, so we to stone will change him. All shouted, looking down. In evil hour avenged we not on Theseus his assault. Turn thyself round and keep thine eyes close shut, for if the Gorgon appear and thou shouldest see it, no more returning upward would there be. Thus said the master, and he turned me round himself, and trusted not unto my hands, so far as not to blind me with his own. O ye who have undistempered intellects, observe the doctrine that conceals itself beneath the veil of the mysterious verses. And now there came across the turbid waves the clangor of a sound with terror fraught, because of which both the margins trembled. Not otherwise it was than of a wind, impetuous on account of adverse heats, that smites the forest, and without restraint the branches rends, beats down, and bears away, right onward, laden with dust, and goes superb, and puts to flight the wild beasts and the shepherds. Mine eyes he loosed and said, direct the nerve of vision now long that ancient form, there yonder where that smoke is most intense, even as the frogs before the hostile serpent. Across the water scatter all abroad until each one is huddled in the earth. More than 1,000 ruined souls I saw thus fleeing from before one who on foot was passing over the Styx with souls unwet. From off his face he fanned that unconscious air, waving his left hand oft in front of him, and only with that anguish seemed he weary. Well I perceived one sent from heaven was he, and to the master turned, and he made a sign that I should quiet stand and bow before him. Ah, how disdainful he appeared to me! He reached the gate, and with a little rod he opened, for there was no resistance. Oh, banished out of heaven, people despise. Thus he began upon the horrid threshold. Whence is the arrogance within you couched? Wherefore recalcitrate against that will, from which the end can never be cut off, and which has many times increased your pain? What helpeth it to butt against that fates? Your Cerberus, if you remember well, for that still bears his chin in golden field. Then he returned along the merry road, and spoke no word to us, but had the look of none, or had the look of one whom other care constrains and goads, than that of him who in his presence is, and we our feet directed towards the city, after those holy words all confident within we entered without any contest. And I, who inclination had to see what the conditions such a fortress holds, soon as I was within, cast round my eye, and see on every hand an ample palm, full of distress and torment terrible, even as at Arles, where stagnant grows the Rhone, even as at Pola near to the Quarnaro, that shuts in Italy and bathes its borders, the sepulchres make all the place uneven. So likewise did they there on every side, saving that there the manner was more bitter, for flames between the sepulchres were scattered, by which they so intensely heated were, that iron more so asks not any art. All of their coverings uplifted were, and from them issued forth such dire laments, soothed seemed they of the wretched and tormented. And I, my master, what are all those people who, having sepulture within those tombs, make themselves audible by doleful sighs? And he to me, here as the Berserks, with their disciples of all sects, and much more than thou thinkest laden are the tombs. Here like together with its like is buried, and more and less the monuments are heated. And when he to the right had turned, we passed between the torments and high parapets. Now onward goes along a narrow path between the torments and the city wall. My master and I follow at his back. O power supreme, that through these impious circles turnest me, I began as pleases thee, speak to me, and my longing satisfy. The people who are lying in these tombs, might they be seen? Already are uplifted, the covers all, and no one keepeth guard. And he to me, they all will be closed up, When from Jehoshaphat they shall return, here with the bodies they have left above, their cemetery have upon this side, which Epicures all his followers, who with the body mortal make the soul. But in but in the question thou dost put to me, within here shalt thou soon be satisfied, and likewise in the wish thou keepest silent. And I, good leader, I but keep concealed from thee my heart, that I may speak the less, nor only now hast thou thereto disposed me. O Tuscan, thou who through the city of fire goest alive, thus speaking modestly, be pleased to stay thy footstep in this place. Thy mode of speaking makes thee manifest, a native of that noble fatherland. To which perhaps I too was, upon a sudden issued forth this sound from out one of the tombs, wherefore I pressed, fearing a little nearer to my leader. And unto me he said, Turn thee, what dost thou? Behold there Farinata, who has risen. From the waist upwards wholly shalt thou see him. I had already fixed mine eyes on his, and he uprose erect, with breast and front, e'en as if hell had in great despite. And with courageous hands and prompt my leader thrust me between the sepulchres towards him, exclaiming, Let thy words explicit be. As soon as I was at the foot of his tomb, somewhat he eyed me, and as if disdainful, then asked of me, Who were thine ancestors? I, who, desirous of obeying, was, concealed it not, but all revealed to him. Whereat he raised his brows a little upward, then he said, Fiercely adverse have they been to me and to my fathers and my party, so that two several times I scattered them. If they were banished, they return on all sides, I answered him, the first time and the second. But yours have not acquired that art aright. Then there uprose upon the sight uncovered, down to the chin, a shadow at his side. I think that he had risen on his knees. Round me he gazed as if solicitude. He had to see if some one else were with me. But after his suspicion was all spent, weeping, he said to me, If through this blind prison thou goest by loftiness of genius, where is my son, and why is he not with thee? And I to him, I come not of myself. He who is waiting yonder leads me here, whom in disdain perhaps your Guido had. His language and the mode of punishment already unto me had read his name. On that account, my answer was so full. Upstarting suddenly, he cried out, How saidst thou he had? Is he not still alive? Does not the sweet light strike upon his eyes? When he became aware of some delay, which I before my answer made, supine, he fell again, and forth appeared no more. But the other magnanimous, and whose desire I had remained, did not his aspect change, neither his neck he moved nor bent his side. And if, continuing his first discourse, they have that art, he said, not learned aright, that more tormenteth me, that doth this bed, but 50 times shall not rekindled be the countenance of the lady who reigns here. Here thou shalt know how heavy is that art, and as thou wouldest to the sweet world return, say why the people is so pitiless against my race in each one of its laws. Whence I to him, the slaughter and great carnage which have the crimson stained the Arabia, cause such orisons in our temple to be made. After his head he with a sigh had shaken, There I was not alone, he said, nor surely without a cause had with the others moved, but there I was alone, where every one consented to the laying waste of Florence. He who had defended her with open face, so hereafter may your seed repose. I am entreated, solve for me that knot, which has entangled my conceptions here. It seems that you can see, if I hear rightly, beforehand whosoever brings it, and in the present have another made. We see, like those who have in perfect sight the things he said that distant are from us, so much still shines on the sovereign ruler. When they draw near or are is wholly vain or intellect, and if none brings it to us, not anything know we of your human state. Hence thou canst understand that wholly dead will be our knowledge from the moment when the portal of the future shall be closed. Then I, as if compunctious for my fault, said, now then you will tell that fallen one that still his son is with the living joined. And if just now in answering I was dumb, tell him I did it because I was thinking already of the error you have solved me. And now my master was recalling me, wherefore more eagerly I prayed the spirit that he would tell me who was with him there. He said, with more than 1,000 here I lie. Within here is the second Frederick, and the cardinal, and of the rest I speak not. Thereon he hid himself, and I towards the ancient poet turned my steps, reflecting upon that saying which seemed hostile to me. He moved along, and afterward, thus going, he said to me, why art thou so bewildered? And I in his inquiry satisfied him. Let memory preserve what thou hast heard against thyself that sage commanded me, and now attend here. And he raised his finger when thou shalt be before the radiant sweet of her whose beauteous eyes all things behold. From her thou know the journey of thy life. Unto the left hand then he turned his feet. We left the wall and went towards the middle, along a path that strikes into a valley, which even up there unpleasant made its stench. Upon the margin of a lofty bank, which great rocks broken in a circle made, we came upon a still more cruel throng. And there, by reason of the horrible excess of stench the deep abyss throws out, we drew ourselves aside behind the cover of a great tomb whereon I was a writing, which said, Pope Anastasius, I hold, whom out of the right way Fortunus drew. Slow it behoveth our descent to be, so that the sense be first a little used, to be sad blast, and then we shall not heed it. The master thus, and unto him I said, some compensation find, that the time pass not idly, and he, thou seest, I think of that. My son, upon the inside of these rocks, began he then to say, are three small circles, from grade to grade like those of which thou art leaving. They are all full of spirits maledicent, but that hereafter sight alone suffice thee hear how and wherefore they are in constraint of every malice that whence hate in heaven, injury is the end, and all such end either by force or fraud afflicteth others. But because this fraud is man's peculiar vice, more it displeaseth God, and so standeth lowest the fraudulent, and greater dole assails them. All the first circle of the violent is but since force may be used against three persons. In 3 rounds, 'tis divided and constructed. To God, to ourselves, and to our neighbor can we use force. I say on them and on their things, and thou shalt hear with reason manifest. A death by violence and painful wounds are to our neighbor given, and in his substance ruin and arson and injurious levies. wins homicides, and he who smites unjustly, martyrs and freebooters, the first round tormenteth all in diverse companies. Man may lay violent hands upon himself and his own goods, and therefore in the second round must free force without avail repent. Whoever of your world deprives himself, who games and dissipates his property, who weepeth thee where he should jocund, the violence can be done the deity, in heart denying the blaspheming him, and by disdaining nature and her bounty. And for this reason doth the smallest round seal with its signet Sodom and God Horus, and who disdaining God speaks from the heart. Fraud wherewithal is every conscious stone. A man may practice upon him who trusts in him who doth no confidence in verse. Thus latter mode, it would appear, deservers only the bond of love which nature makes. Wherefore within the second circle nestle hypocrisy, flattery, and who deals in magic, falsification, theft, and simony, panderers and barterers, and like filth. By the other mode, forgotten is that love which nature makes, and what is after added, from which there is a special faith engendered. Hence, in the smallest circle, where the point is of the universe upon which this is seated, whoever betrays forever is consumed. And I, my master, clear enough proceeds thy reasoning, and full well distinguishes this cavern and the people who possess it. But tell me those within the fat lagoon, whom the wind drives and whom the rain doth beat, and who encounter with such bitter tongues, wherefore are they inside of the red city, not punished if God has them in his wrath? And if he has not, wherefore in such fashion? And unto me he said, why wanders so thine intellect from that which it is wont? Or soothe thy mind, where is it elsewhere looking? Hast thou no recollection of those words which with thine ethics thoroughly discusses the dispositions three, that heaven abides not, incon- incontinence and malice and insane, bestiality, and how incontinence, less God offendeth, and less blame attracts, if thou regardest this conclusion well, and to thy mind recallest who they are that up outside are undergoing penance. Clearly wilt thou perceive why from these felons they separated are, and why less wroth justice divine doth smite them with its hammer. On sun that healest all distempered visions, thou dost content me so, when thou resolvest that doubting pleases me no less than knowing. Once more a little backwards turn thee, said I, there where thou sayest that usury offends goodness divine, and disengage the knot. Philosophy, he said, to him who heeds it, noteth not only in one place alone, after what manner nature takes her course, from intellect divine and from its art, and if thy physics carefully thou notest, after not many pages shalt thou find that this your art as far as possible follows as the discipline doth the master, so that your art is as if it were God's grandchild. From these two, if thou bringest to thy mind Genesis at the beginning, it behooves mankind to gain their life and to advance. And since the usurer takes another way, nature himself and in her follower disdains he, for elsewhere he puts his hope. But follow now, as I would fain go on, Tyson, and the wane wholly over Cautis lies, and far beyond there we descend the crag. The place where to descend the bank we came was alpine, and from what was there moreover of such a kind that every eye would shun it. such as that ruin is which in the flank smote on this side of Trent the adage, either by earthquake or by failing stay, or from the mountain's top from which it moved unto the plain, the cliff is shattered so no path would give to him who was above. Even such was the descent of that ravine, and on the border of the broken chasm the infamy of Crete was stretched along, who was conceived in the fictitious cow. And when he us beheld, he bit himself, even as one whom anger racks within. My sage towards him shouted, Peradventure thou thinkest that here may be the Duke of Athens, who in the world above brought death to thee. Get thee gone, beast, for this one cometh not instructed by thy sister, but he comes in order to behold your punishments, as is that bull who breaks loose at the moment in which he has received the mortal blow, who cannot walk, but staggers here and there. The Minotaur beheld I do the like, and he, the wary, cried, Run to the passage, while he is wroth. 'Tis well thou shouldest descend. Thus down we took our way over that discharge of stones, which oftentimes did move themselves beneath my feet from the unwonted burden. Thoughtful I went, and he said, Thou art thinking perhaps upon this ruin which is guarded by that brute anger which just now I quenched. Now will I have thee know, the other time I here descend to thee neither hell. This precipice had not yet fallen down, but truly if I well discern a little before his coming, who the mighty spoil bore all from him this, in this supernal circle, upon all sides the deep and loathsome valley trembled so that I thought the universe was thrilled with love, by which there are who think the world oftentimes converted into chaos. And at that moment this primeval crag, both here and elsewhere, made such overthrow. But fix thine eyes below, for draweth near the river of blood, within which boiling is whoever by violence doth injure others. O blind cupidity, O wrath insane that spurs us onward, so in our short life, and in the eternal, then so badly steeps us. I saw an ample moat bent like a bow, as one which all the plain encompasseth, conformable to what my guide had said, and between this and the embankment's foot centaurs in file were running, armed with arrows, as in the world they used the chase to follow. Beholding us descend, each one stood still, and from the squadron three detached themselves, with bows and arrows in advance selected, and from afar one cried, Unto what torment comes ye who down the hillside are descending? Tell us from there, if not I draw the bow. My master said, Our ancestor will make to Chiron, there near by, in evil hour. That will of thine was evermore so hasty. Then touched he me and said, This one is Nessus, who perished for the lovely Dejniara, and for himself did vengeance take. And he in the midst, who at his breast is gazing, is the great Chiron, who brought up Achilles, that other Pholus is, who was so wrathful. Thousands and thousands go about the moat, shooting with shafts whatever soul emerges out of the blood more than his crime allots. Near we approached unto those monsters' fleet. Chiron an arrow took, and with the notch backward upon his jaws he put his beard. After he had uncovered his great mouth, he said to his companions, Are you aware that he behind moveth whatever he touches? Thus are not wont to do the feet of dead men. And my good guide, who now was at his breast, where the two natures are together joined, replied, Indeed he lives, and thus alone me it behooves to show him the dark valley. Necessity and not delight impels us. Someone withdrew from singing Hallelujah who unto me committed this new office. No thief is he, nor I a thievish spirit, but by the virtue through which I am moving my steps along this savage thoroughfare, give us some one of thine to be with us, and who may show us where to pass the ford, and who may carry this man on his back, for 'tis no spirit that can walk the air. Upon his right breast Chiron wheeled about, and said to Nessus, turn and do thou guide them, warn aside if other bands should meet you. We with our faithful escort onward moved along the brink of the vermilion boiling, wherein the boiled were uttering loud laments. People I saw within up to the eyebrows, and the great centaur said, tyrants are these who dealt in bloodshed and in pillaging. Here they lament their pitiless mischiefs. Here is Alexander and fierce Dionysius, who upon Sicily brought dolorous years. That forehead there, which has the hair so black as azurine, and to the other who is blonde, Obiazor, is of Este, who in truth up in the world was by his stepson slain. Then turned I to the poet, and he said, now he be first to thee, and I second. A little farther on the centaur stopped, above a folk who far down as the throat seemed from that boiling stream to issue forth. A shade he showed us on one side alone, saying, he cleft asunder in God's bosom the heart that still upon the Thames is honored. Then people saw I, who from out the river lifted their heads, and also all the chest, and many among these I recognized. Thus evermore I more grew shallower, that blood so that the feet alone it covered, and there across the moat our passage was, even as thou here upon this side beholdest the boiling stream that diminishes. The centaur said, I wish thee to believe that on this other more and more declines its bed until it reunites itself where it behoveth tyranny to grow. Justice divine upon this side is goading that Attila, who was a scourge on earth, and Paris and Sextus, and forever milks the tears which with the boiling it unseals in Reiner, Dad Cornato, and Rainer Paso, who made upon the highway so much war. Then back he turned and passed again forward. I was asleep. 7:11. I feel like reading a little bit more. Use the bathroom right quick. I will be back super fast. Well, I was thinking it, and then I come back and I see it, and I'm like, well, hey, let's do it. Why not? Do y'all like a tour? Little room tour? The altar's a little bit different. Now, this is actually something that's pretty interesting. Now, if you look here, we have Hebrew, Horus, Ra, however you want to see him. We got him over here. And here we got the chief. We got feathers going down, feathers going up. Same dude. Same dude. That'd be more the mother's side. And we have the boat. Not yet had Nessus reached the other side, when we put ourselves within a wood that was not marked by any path whatever, not foliage green, but of a dusky color, not branches smooth, but gnarled and intertangled, not apple trees were there, but thorns with poison. Such tangled thickets have not, nor so dense those savage wild beasts that in hatred hold twixt Cecina and Corneto the tilled places. There do the hideous harpies make their nests, who chase the Trojans from the Strophiades with sad announcement of impending doom. Broad wings have they, and necks and faces human, and feet with claws, and their great bellies fledged. They make laments upon the wondrous trees, and the good master, ere thou enter farther, know that thou art within the second round. Thus he began to say that it shalt be till thou comest upon the horrible sand waste. Therefore look well around, and thou shalt see that things will credence give unto my speech. I heard on all sides lamentations uttered, and person none beheld I who might make them, whence utterly bewildered I stood still. I think he thought that I perhaps might think so many voices issued through those trunks from people who concealed themselves for us. Therefore the master said, if thou break off some little spray from any of these trees, the thoughts thou hast will wholly be made vain. Then stretched I forth my hand a little forward, and plucked a branchlet off from a great thorn. And he and the trunk cried, why dost thou mangle me? After it had become embrowned with blood, it recommended its cry, why dost thou rend? Hast thou no spirit of pity whatsoever? Men once we were, and now are changed to trees. Indeed, thy hand should be more pitiful, if the souls of serpents we had been, as out of a green band that is on fire in one of the ends, and from the other drips and hisses with the wind that is escaping. So from that splinter issued forth together both words and blood, whereat I let the tip fall and stood like a man who is afraid. Had he been able sooner to believe, my sage made answer, O thou wounded soul, what only in my verses he has seen. Not upon thee had he stretched forth his hand, whereas the thing incredible has caused me to put him to an act which grieveth me. But tell him who thou wast, so that by way of some amends thy pain he may refresh up in the world to which he can return. And the trunk said, so thy sweet words allure me, I cannot silent be, and you be vexed not, that I a little to discourse am tempted. I am the one who both keys had in keeping of Frederick's heart, and turned them to and fro so softly and unlocking and locking, that from his secrets most men I withheld. Fidelity I bore the glorious office is so great I lost thereby my sleep and pulses. The courtesan who never from the dwelling of Caesar turned aside her harlot eyes, death universal and of the vice of courts, inflamed against me all the other minds, and they inflamed did so inflame Augustus, that my glad honors to small mournings, my spirited and disdainful exaltation, thinking by dying to escape disdain, made me unjust against myself, the just. I, by the roots unwonted of this wood, do swear to you that never broke I faith unto my Lord who was so worthy of honor. To the world, if one of you return, let him my memory comfort, which is lying still prostrate from the blow that envy dealt it. Waited a while, and then, since he is silent, the poet said to me, lose not the time, but speak the question him, if more may please thee. Whence I to him, do thou again inquire concerning what thou thinkest will satisfy. For I cannot, such pity is in my heart. Therefore he recommenced. So may the man do for thee freely thy speech implores. Spirit incarnate, again be pleased to tell us in what way the soul is bound within these knots, and tell us if thou canst, if any from such members ever is free. Then blew the trunk amain. Afterward the wind was into such a voice converted with brevity, shall be replied to you. When the exasperated soul abandons the body whence it rent itself away, Minos consigns it to the seventh abyss. It falls into the forest that no part is chosen for it, but where fortune hurls it, there like a grain of spelt it germinates. It springs a sapling in a forest tree. The harpies feeding then upon its leaves do pain create, and for the pain and outlet, like others for our spoil shall we return, but not that any one may then revest. For 'tis not just to have what one casts off. Here we shall drag them, and along the dismal forest our bodies shall suspended be, each to the thorn of his shade. We are attentive still unto the trunk, thinking that more it yet might wish to tell us, when by a tumult we will overtake. In the same way as he is who perceives the boar in chase approaching to his stand, who hears the crashing of the beasts and branches, and two, behold, upon our left-hand side, naked and scratched, fleeing so furiously that of the forest every fan they broke. He who was in advance, now help, death, help, and the other, who seemed to lag too much, was shouting, Lano, were not so alert, those legs of thine out joustings of the whole. And then, perchance, because his breath was failing, he grouped himself together with a bush. Behind them was the forest full of black she-mastiffs, ravenous and swift of foot, as greyhounds who are rising from the chain. On him who had crouched down they set their teeth, and him they lacerated piece by piece, thereafter bore away those aching members. Thereat my escort took me by the hand and led me to the bush, that all in vain was weeping from its bloody lacerations. Orja corpo, it said, of Saint Andrea, what helped it thee of me to make a screen? What blame have I in thy nefarious lot? When near him had the master stayed his steps, he said, Who wast thou that through wounds so many are blowing out with blood thy dolorous speech? And he to us, O souls that hither come to look upon the shameful massacre that has so rent away from me my leaves, gather them up beneath the dismal bush. I of that city was which to the Baptist changed its first patron, wherefore he for this forever with his art will make it sad. And were it not that on the pass of Arno some glimpse of him are remaining still, those citizens who afterwards rebuilt it upon the ashes left by Attila in vain had caused their labor could be done. Of my own house I made myself forgiven, because that charity of my native place constrained me, gathered I the scattered leaves, and gave them back to him who now was hoarse. Then came we to the confine where disparted the second round is from the third, and where a horrible form of justice is beheld, clearly to manifest these novel things. I say that we arrived upon a plain which from its bed rejecteth every plant. The dolorous forest is a garland to it, all round about, as the sad moat to that. There close upon the edge we stayed our feet. The soil was of an arid and thick sand, not of another fashion made than that which by the feet of Cato once was pressed. Vengeance of God, of how much oughtest thou by each one to be dreaded, who doth read that which was manifest unto mine eyes? Of naked souls beheld I many herds, who all were weeping very miserably, and over them seemed set a diverse law. Supine upon the ground some folk were lying, some were sitting all drawn up together, and others went about continually. Those who were going round were far the more, and those who were less, who lay down to their torment, but had their tongues more loosened to lamentation. Over all the sand waste with a gladful fall were raining down dilated flakes of fire, as of the snow on Alp without a wind, as Alexander in the torrid parts of India beheld upon his host. Flames fall unbroken till they reach the ground, whence he provided with his phalanxes to trample down the soil, because the vapor better extinguished was while it was single. Thus was descending the eternal heat, whereby the sand was set on fire like tinder beneath the steel, for doubling of the dole without repose forever was the dance of miserable hands, now there, now here, shaking away from all the fresh glades. Master, began I, thou who overcomest all things except the demons dire that issued against us at the entrance of the gate, who is that mighty one who seems to heed not the fire and lieth lowering and disdainful, so that the rain seems not to ripen? And he himself, who had become aware that I was questioning my guide about him, cried, such as I was living am I dead. If Jove should weary out his smith, from whom he seized in anger the sharp thunderbolt wherewith upon the last day I was smitten, and if he wearied out by turns the others in Mongabello at the swarthy forge, vociferting, help, good Vulcan, help, even as he did there at the fight of Phlegra, and shot his bolts at me with all his might. He would not have thereby a joyous vengeance. Then did my leader speak with such great force that I had never heard him speak so loud. Or Calpurnius, in that is not extinguished thine arrogance, thou punched art the more. Not any torment saving thine own rage would be unto thy fury paid complete. Then he turned round to me with better lip, saying, one of the seven kings was he who Thebes besieged and held, and seems to hold God in disdain, and little seems to prize him. But as I said to him, his own despites are for the breast and the fittest ornaments. Now follow me, and mind thou do not place as yet thy feet upon the burning sand, but always keep them close unto the wood, speaking no word. We came to where there gushes forth from the wood a little rivulet, whose redness makes my hair still stand on end, as from the Borskadme springs the brooklet. The sinful women ladder share among them, so downward through the sand it went its way. The bottom of it and both sloping banks were made of stone, and the margins at the side, whence I perceived that there the passage was, and all the rest which I have shown to thee, since we have entered in within the gate whose threshold unto no one is denied. Nothing has been discovered by thine eyes, so notable as is the present river, which all the little flames above it quenches. Those words were of my leader, whence I prayed him that he would give me largesse of food, for which he had given me largesse of desire. In the mid-sea there sits a wasteland, said he thereafterward, whose name is Crete, under whose king the world of old was chased. There is a mountain there, and once was glad with waters and with leaves, which was called Irta. Now 'tis deserted as a thing worn out. Rhea once chose it for the faithful cradle of her own son, to conceal him better. Whence he cried, so there had clamors made. A grand old man stands in the moment erect, who holds his shoulders turned down, torn towards the Manta, and looks at Rome as if it were his mirror. His head is fashioned of refined gold, and of pure silver are the arms and breast. Then he is brass as far down as the fork. From that point downward all is chosen iron, save that the right foot is of campic clay, and more he stands on that than on the other. Each part except of gold is by a fissure, asunder cleft, that dripping is with tears which gathered together perforate that cavern. From rock to rock they fall into this valley, Acheron, Styx, and Phlegrathron they form, then downward go along this narrow sluice, unto that point where is no more descending. They from Corstius, what that pool may be, thou shalt behold. So here 'tis not narrated, and I to him, if so the present rune doth take its rises this way from our world, why only on this verge appears it to us, and he to me. Thou knowest the place is round, and notwithstanding thou hast journeyed far, still to the left, descending to the bottom, thou hast not yet through all the circle turned. Therefore, if something new appears to us, it should not bring amazement to thy face. And I again, Master, where shall be found Lathe and Legthor, or of one thou'rt silent, and sayest the other of this reign is made? In all thy questions truly thou dost please me, replied he, but the boiling of the red water might well solve one of them thou makest. Thou shalt see Leith, but outside this moat, there where the souls repair to lave themselves, when sin repented has been removed. Then he said, it is time now to abandon the wood. Take a heed that thou come after me. Away the margins make that are not burning, and over them all vapors are extinguished. Now bears us onward one of the hard margins, and so the brooklet's mist overshadows it. From fire it saves the water and the dikes, even as the flamingo twixt Cad's sand and Bruges, fearing the flood that towards them hurls itself, their bulwarks build to put the sea to flight. And as the Paurans along the Brenta to guard their villas and their villages, or even Charentarna feels the heat, in such similitude had those been made, albeit not so lofty nor so thick. Whoever he might be, the master made them. Now were we from the forest so remote, I could not have discovered where it was, even if backward I had turned myself. When we a company of souls encountered who came beside the dike, and every one gazed at us, as at evening we are wont to eye each other under a new moon, and so towards us sharpened they their brows as an old tailor at the needle's eye. Thus scrutinized by such family, by someone I was recognized, who seized my garment's hem and cried out, what a marvel! And I, when he stretched forth his arm to me, on his big aspect fastened so mine eyes that the scorched countenance prevented not his recognition by my intellect. And bowing down my face unto his own, I made reply, are you here, Sir Barnetto? And he, may it not displease thee, O my son, if a brief space with thee, Brunetio, let thee backward return, and let the trail go on? I said to him, with all my power I ask it, and if you wish me to sit down with you, I will, if he pleases, for I go with him. O son, he said, whoever of his herd a moment stops, lies then 100 years, nor fans himself when smiteth him the fire. Therefore go on, I at thy skirts will come, and afterward will I rejoin my band, which goes lamenting its eternal duty. I did not dare to go down from the road level to walk with him, but my head bowed I held as one who goeth reverently. And he began, What fortune or what fate before the last day leadeth thee down here? And who is this that showeth thee the way? Up thee above us in the life serene. I answered him, I lost me in a valley, or ever yet my age had been completed. But yester morn I turned my back upon it. This one appeared to me, returning thither, and homeward leadeth me along this road, and he to me, if thou thy star do follow. Thou canst not fail thee of a glorious port, if well I judged in the life beautiful, if I had not died so prematurely, seeing heaven thus benignant unto thee. I would have given thee comfort in the work, but that ungrateful and malignant people, which of old time from Fesul descended, and smack still of the mountain and the granite, will make himself for thy good deeds thy foe. And it is right, for among crabbed sorbs it ill befits the sweet fig to bear fruit. Old rumor in the world proclaims them blind, a people avaricious, envious, and proud. Take heed that of their customs thou do cleanse thee. Thy fortune so much honor doth reserve thee one party, and the other shall be hungry for thee, but far from goats shall be the grass. Their litter let the beast of vessel make of themselves, nor let them touch the plant, if any still upon their dunghill rise, in which may yet revive the consecrated seed of those Romans who remained there when the nest of such great malice it became. If my entreaty wholly were fulfilled, replied I to him, not yet would you be in banishment from human nature placed, for in my mind is fixed, and touches now my heart the dear and good paternal image of you, wherein the world from hour to hour you taught me how a man becomes eternal, and how much I am grateful while I live behooves that in my language be discerned. What you narrate of my career I write, and keep it to be glossed with other text by a lady who can do it if I reach her. This much will I have manifest to you, provided that my conscience do not chide me. For whatsoever fortune I am ready. Such counsel is not new unto mine ears, therefore let fortune turn her wheel around as it may please her, and the churl his mattock. My master thereupon on his right cheek did backward turn himself and looked at me, then said, He listeneth well who noteth it, nor speaking less on that account. I go with Sir Brunetto, and I ask who are his most known and most eminent companions, and he to me, to know of some is well, of others is were laudable to be silent, for short would be the time for so much speech. No, then in some that all of them were clerks and men of letters great and of great fame, in the world tainted with the self same sin. Christian goes yonder with that wretched crowd, and Francis and Corso, and thou hadst seen there, if thou hadst had an hankering for such scruff, that one who by the servant of the servants from Arno was transferred to Rabashigorne, where he has left his sin-excited nerves. More would I say, but corning and discoursing can be no longer, for that I behold new smoke uprising yonder from the sand. A people comes with whom I may not be, commended unto thee by my castle, in which I still live, and no more I ask. Then he turned round and seemed to be of those who at Verona run for the green mantle across the palm, and seemed to be among them the one who wins, and not the one who loses. Thus concludes Canto 25, 15, Canto 15 of the Inferno. So coming to a conclusion, closing for the day. Normally I just cut it off and I just exit out. But aiming towards a conclusion, I try to look at the comments, or I'm trying to look at the comments a little bit more. And very, very welcome, very welcome. Let's see. And there was a comment earlier today, and somebody said that it seemed like I was in the 12th dimension. Your mind and your thoughts, they belong to you. Each one of you. To you. Yeah, you. Independently, you. Your thoughts belong to you. You can share those thoughts and keep them to yourself. Either way. And that's the beautiful thing about our reality, about each person's reality. We have our own thoughts. Our thoughts are our own thoughts. We can think whatever we want. People can say whatever we want, whatever they want. They can say anything they want out their mouth. I know who I am. And before I didn't know who I am, I was studying and I was learning and I was finding out about life. And didn't matter what came across my board or my life, I was finding out. And if people got in the way of me learning, well, I left that environment so that I could keep learning. And years before, it was the environment, and it was the people, and it was all the external stuff that kept me completely more quiet. So as I continued upon my own path, my own mind focused more and more and more and more, and I started to share. And whether it be praise or whether it be negative comments, it, that's not an impact of what I do. It's both are going to happen. Both are going to happen in life. That's those are not my thoughts. Those belong to the person who thought them. We can entertain the world, or we can entertain God, divinity, divine mother, divine father, Krishna, Buddha, yourself, however you see that divine authority, entertaining them in a world where faith has seemingly been lost. It's been lost. Faith has been replaced with regulations and rules. And you wear these clothes, you wear those clothes. And if you climb this ladder, you get to wear those clothes. You can wear any clothes you want. Those are clothes. Your mind is your world. And you can choose to think about things, you can choose not to think about things. Where we put our attention is what grows and develops in our life. It's a scientific thing. The blind split test. Shoot the particles through, and the particles have a certain reaction on the wall. They're like, huh. And then put a camera in there. And when they put the camera in there, you get a different result of the particles on the wall. It's a different result because it has an eye that's watching. You can do the research, but if you focus on it, you're going to create it. And the longer you focus on it, that's the more detail you're putting into your creation. You cover it up with science, or layer it with religion, or create some other fantastical story, but that's their cut. And I decided that other people are not living in a very happy world. I generally, I'm a happy person. I live in a happy world in my mind. Things are good. Things are happy and positive. And so that's the world I entertain. And to be able to create in ways that other people haven't, something we can all do. They say you have a gift and a purpose. You discover what that gift is. It'll lead you to that purpose. You just got to be you. And that's very difficult to achieve in a world of people pulling at you in many directions. So learn, experience, and live and love, and all that good stuff. It's about that time. And it's kind of funny because I want to wait till 8 and make it like appropriate or whatever. But at the same token, whose rules do we have to follow and whose script do we have to read from? The heart and those that are present. Those that are present, they care. Some don't know how to express that. And so they fight with it, they wrestle with it. Think about that scripture, that experience. I forget who it was, but somebody, they wrestled with an angel. They got back. Where were you? I wrestled with an angel for a blessing, or whatever that story appropriately goes in the Bible. The dude wrestled with an angel for a blessing. Well, how could you wrestle with an angel? Think about that. It's a lot of wrestling on the inside. It's emotional, it's mental wrestling. We do this. You do it. I do it. We do this. He wrestled with himself because the angel truly was speaking within him. Within him. So he had to wrestle through conflicting thoughts and conflicting ideas to be like, nah, this is the gift I want. This is the gift I'm going to use in the world. This is going to help humanity. And when you have nobody directing you except your own divine connection, that's where the magic happens. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Jacob, thank you. Yes, Jacob, thank you. DCL, DCJL. That's cool. That's cool. Uh, yeah. Jake, he wrestled with the angel, man. Like, boom. And that's really what it takes. That's really what it requires. Is that? And so for those who enjoy the channel regularly and catch the negative comments, know that those people, they're wrestling. and they don't really talk to themselves on the inside. They don't really go on the inside. They use other people. They need. I don't. I'll take that. They don't use. They need other individuals because it's scary to do the shadow work. It's scary to go on the inside and to realize, I can connect with consciousness, and I can do calculations and write books inside of my head, and have no notes to show for it. That's acceptable to do that. It's acceptable to use your amazing mind, and so that's the understanding. That's why those comments ultimately they're there, but they don't have. That's why I allow them to be, because they people need it. They need to work through that. They need somebody gets offended or whatever the case. They have interactions, have a comment, whole conversation going on here. That's that we're helping each other. We are angels embodied, speaking to each other, helping each other. We see the highest potential, the highest good that another person can do, then that's all we're going to want to help, anyways, at least me and myself. But it is about that time, and at this point, I am a bit rambling on. Says, what is my zodiac sign now? If I'm a Capricorn, so every 71 years the dates change, and so some of the zodiac signs, some of the dates can still align, but like for myself, I'm a Capricorn as well, and my technical sign, well, Capricorn does have a lot of uh, it's very applicable to my life. It's a lot of aspects of my life. Technically I'm Sagittarius, so typically you go like a month before. But I have done a lot of looking up, and some of them do line up with what they are on the regular zodiacal sign. Um, Australia. So thank you. It's what it comes down to. There's many books. There's the Bible. There's books that were written thousands of years before the Bible. Um, many, let's call them divine sacred texts that exist in the world. Now, these books, these sets of information, let's bring a modern day application, okay? We got the comments going on, and people have negative things to say and positive things to say. They argue over what I say. So then we have these sacred texts, and people argue over what they say. Well, it doesn't say reincarnation is real, but it has all these kind of supporting factors in there of expressing reincarnation here and here and here and here and hmm. The book and all of these informations to myself and anybody else in philosophy, these books were meant for an individual journey. They were not intended as argument material. Now, on a very technical format of the word argument, an argument modernly is classified as having negative emotion attached to it. If we get back to the actual word argument, it's a discussion of two different points of view. That's it. There's no It's not like bickering. It's proper. Here's information that supports my view. Here's information that supports my view, and they go back and forth. It's not rah rah rah. It's not like that. So, in the sense of things, the information is good to have. Argument, structured discourse, going back and forth, presenting information. Oh, I didn't look at it like that. I haven't seen it like that. I have to think about that. That's good. That's healthy. Though these materials are not meant for bickering. When people get stuck in the comment section and they just arguing, well, they're stuck in the world. They're of the world, in the world. They're stuck in the. It's a washing machine down at the bottom. They can't get out of it. The dirty's just being trying to wash all the dirty junk out. And then when an individual gets into the deep thinkings, the deep mysteries that are right before all of our eyes in these books, it's for an individual journey. It's your choice to believe. The information has been put before you, and it's your choice to believe whether it's reincarnation or whether it's this, or maybe you need to create a new word to be like, I feel it's like this. And then you formulate these ideas. And I'm going to tell you what I did personally. I formulated a bunch of these ideas. And then I went out into the world. I went out and I talked to people. I went to places that I normally wouldn't go to. I went to the hookah lounge and I went to that place. And I went to a synagogue and a Jewish synagogue. And I went to this place, that place. And I presented these ideas in a casual manner. And people would give me their feedback. Now, I wouldn't challenge what they said. Some people didn't have new information. Okay, I'm just not, nothing. They're not giving me nothing. So what I have to say still stands pretty good. And I present this idea, this notion to many, many people of different backgrounds, and then I meet somebody and they actually give me feedback and they're like, well, actually, and they bring new information to my mind. I don't argue immediately. I take in the new point of view, I take in the new information, and I sleep on that. I think about that. I ponder about that. Look in my other books, look in that book, do my study and do my reading. And then, actually, that's a better idea than what I had come to a conclusion of. I'm going to go with that one. So that becomes, that replaces it, that becomes the new crowning understanding of that subject or that idea or that concept that I had. And so, in this way, the growth is individual. It's not group. It's not a group thing. Like, it's a very individual thing. Now, collectively conscious, quantumly, and all of that, it is very connected. It is very much a group thing. But what we're specifically speaking on in this moment, as somebody presented, do you believe in reincarnation? And they were talking, seemed like referencing towards the Bible's direction. That truth, that belief, that's something only you can have. Can't teach belief. You can only present information, and then it's up to the individual to believe. Nikola Tesla did not need people to believe what he knew, what he calculated, what he worked on. He didn't need people to believe. He just wanted to work on what he knew he could do, what he was discovering, what he was tapping into that no other human was. And that was because he believed and he had confidence. Just like the dude said, If you had the faith the size of a mustard grain seed, you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will be so. I hope you've enjoyed today. I've enjoyed today. We'll be back tomorrow. Dante Kawhi. Till next time. Thank you.